Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research.
Hello and welcome to the Midweek Takeaway. I'm Phil Carroll, and today we're diving into an exciting update from the world of sustainable technology. Technology Minerals Plc is making headlines with their subsidiary Recyclus Group securing a deal to supply a custom lithium-ion battery shredder to WMG University of Warwick. This move underpins their commitment to battery recycling and the circular economy. With Recyclus' expertise and WMG's research capabilities, we're looking at a powerful collaboration that could shape the future of battery recycling. Joining us is Robin Brundle, Chairman of Technology Minerals. Welcome, Robin. We're excited to hear your insights on this innovative partnership.
Yes, thank you, Phil. And we're delighted that this open bid has been won by us, and a real credit to the engineering and science team here at Recyclus Group. You know, there's a lot of competition, we understand, and people coming up with different ideas, but at the end, our technology has won through, and it supports the narrative that academia have previously used, that what we actually have in technology terms is still world-class and world-leading.
So do you want to just tell the listeners about the scale of this system? Presumably it's not the same size as the one that's obviously already installed in Wolverhampton. Do you tell us about the size and what the WMG will is aiming to obtain from this shredder?
Yeah, sure. So the size is probably more akin to it's got to fit into a laboratory, obviously. So it has to be size relevant to laboratory volumes. So really, it's more about our technique, our processes, and the end product from shredding the actual battery and getting the correct streams of offtake, making sure that the material's coming out in a way that can be used in a laboratory to advance the technologies that they're currently working on. So I'll give you some idea of scale on that. So it's a really shrunk down version. You've heard us talk before that we're now 4 months into the design of shrinking what we have at Wolverhampton to fit into the back of a dustbin lorry. Well, again, this is one scale smaller than that, so that puts it into context, but it's carrying all of the same techniques and processes that we use on the large-scale plant. And the benefits for us and for the UK here is that it will now enable Warwick to actually do their own shredding of their own battery materials, depending on the chemistries, to then analyze what we've previously discussed in these formats is black mass, the black powder that we get with the 4 metals in. So clearly the UK and we as a company are chasing this separation of this black mass. And this we believe that this plant going into the university will accelerate their ability to deliver the program of black mass separation for the UK. But it does more than that for us, because we've also mentioned before that we have already had it in place for probably a year or so now, an Eng-D candidate that's linking us with Warwick. And so we've already got full access to all of the facilities and knowledge that's gone into Warwick over a number of years of their focus with companies like Jaguar Land Rover, for example, on battery production. So as new chemistries come along in the future, we're already future-proofed, but as new chemistries will inevitably come along, the universities will be able to trial now by testing the shredding of those new chemistries through this plant, and we will have access to that learning and sharing of that learning. So for us, it's a great thing to win, and it had to be an open bid, as I said. It's validation, again, of our technology still being right at the forefront, which is fantastic. It supports our future-proof strategy to take us well beyond the current 5-6 year plan that we have by working with academia in this way. And it also enables us to support them to make sure that any concepts that come through in the usual way, they do have to come out the other end to be commercially viable. And, many great ideas get stumped at the point of transitioning from a great idea into commerciality. And so working closely with WMG on something like the black mass separation, for example, we can actually help them understand that probably a £400 million plant is not going to work. but tens of millions of plants with black mass separation will work. So, and there's all these types of commercial angles that come in to the review of the output from academia. So it's a bit heavy and a bit detailed, that, but hopefully I've tried to describe to you a really good flow plan for us here, and it's based on credentials, which is great.
So, Robin, do you see that the fact that the Warwick Manufacturing Group and obviously Warwick University as a whole and this whole setup, is this going to give you an advantage with the OEMs in terms of if they need to order one of these things, they're already going to be looking at something that is already in place in Warwick Manufacturing Group?
Yes, is the answer. Simple answer. And why would that be? Very simply because there are a number of projects that universities such as Warwick already do with a whole range of global automotive companies. And, car companies want to be car assemblers. They don't want to be recyclers. And that's a model that is consistent throughout every other touch point of an automotive group. They don't want to go and spend money reinventing the wheel. So they would traditionally go to where success is. And if Warwick are now rubber stamping our process again by buying one, and then through the collaborative research that do with a range of global automotives, it's just introducing Recyclus and our products again straight into those OEMs.
Just tell the listeners a bit about the setup in Warwick University in terms of how the government has made this a hub.
Yeah, sure. So government has elected elements of the Warwick campus to be the main conduits for a lot of funding streams relevant to propulsion, automotive, batteries, magnets, and motors, all relevant to EV cars, let's say. And one of the acronyms, APC, is the Advanced Propulsion Centre. That's housed on the campus at Warwick. The other is Warwick Manufacturing Group, which again is housed next door, again on the campus of Warwick. And there are then a whole range of other spin-out names where they've tried to push technology up the technology readiness level, often referred to as TRL, because academia normally will go, great idea is TRL level 1 to 3. And then they fund other projects where there will be collaborative work between companies like ours, automotive companies, and academia, where we push that then up the TRL level to make sure then that we can have a proper look to see if it is going to be commercially viable past that next stage. So that pushes the TRL level then up to around 7. And then commerce like us comes along, takes that idea, and we then commercialize it, which is pushing it up to the maximum TRL level 9. Now, that's the usual concept. As you know from our previous discussions, the problem we had is that we were completely ahead of all of that curve with academia, and our plant and our processes here actually, if you like, jumped straight to technology level 9 because we were ahead of academia with the plant that we've got on the lithium-ion recycling. And that's been a great asset to us to get where we've got to. It's brought other issues about being industry leading with permitting and licensing and having to help inform the regulators effectively and the fire services around all of this, stuff that we've talked about over the last couple of years with you guys. And so it brings its challenges, but it's been also, a real tick in the box for, our team to have got that technology straight to that TRL level 9.
So from the perspective of the whole group, Recyclus Tech Minerals, we have to get used to calling you Recyclus Group from now on. That's obviously what's coming in. Give us just an uptake on what you think is happening with the Recyclus takeover of Tech Minerals, if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, we put an RNS out recently to say that the deal that was previously announced is expecting to go through and to be effectively rubber stamped at the AGM on the 19th of December. We've also announced that we're holding the AGM at our premises in Wolverhampton, so that those that wish to come to the AGM and have a site tour can also do so with pleasure. And so we're working hard on that. The audited figures for TM1 have also been recently released, and we were waiting for those to put into the prospectus, into the FCA to do the reverse takeover. We've been working in tandem on with PKF on the financial returns for Recyclus Group, which are now probably about a week away. And as soon as we've got those figures, we then believe that the return documents that we've had back from the FCA, we've had 3 turns of the document with them, and we believe now that we're ready to just insert those figures and ready to submit the final document. But hopefully by the end of November is our internal target, so that we're ready then to go for rubber stamp in December. Just as a point of note, we then, as a formality, no less than 3 weeks later, and we've got to try and count Christmas in on this, we then have to have an EGM to finalise the transaction. And so realistically, let's say we're targeting the 3rd week of January for it to be fully formalised. But of course, the boards have previously agreed the transaction as previously reported. Nothing's changing there. And of course, we just then have to go to the shareholders at the AGM to get their approval as a majority to actually proceed and complete the deal.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, Robin, how excited are you 2024 and the progress of the Recyclus Group?
Very excited, Kevin, I have to say, which is a very easy thing to say. But I think sitting where we're sitting now, with the various permits, the licenses, with the engagement that we've now got with front-end clients, just starting to see feedstock coming through. We've got clients wanting to go to contracts to give regular feedstock through beginning January onwards. We've got an exciting space for offtake, so we've got short-term offtake agreements in place at the current time, but we believe by the end of December we should be in a place to better understand if there's a viable option to go to a longer-term offtake. That's not a slam dunk, but we're certainly obviously looking at that, having created a competitive environment for our off-takers to bid. And certainly there's no shortage of people wanting the black mass. In fact, we've got a delegation from the Indian High Commission with us today and had a meeting with several of those people yesterday. And there's a lot of appetite with India to do some collaboration as well, both around processes, products and offtakes, and possibly also the lorry as well. So, we'll tell you more if anything happens with that. So
the longer term offtake, Robin, is it a possibility then that the company will have some sort of cash injection if you have a longer term deal that will allow you then to increase the speed of the rollout?
All of those things are on the table right now. And yes, that's one option. Obviously, we've had offers coming in, that revolve around royalties. We've had offers come in that are, revolve around simple offtake agreements. And, we are mindful that we want to now accelerate this rollout here in the UK, particularly to really get a foothold. And we've got to find ways to do that. And if they're viable, and that's what we're looking at, then we will consider that and obviously report back to the shareholders with our conclusions and to seek support for any route that we take with any long term. I think the thing that we're being guarded about is that ideally we'd like the black mass to stay here in the UK, and ideally we'd like to be the people separating it because the value stream is significant on that black mass, and there would be a game changer for us, even beyond the current projected performances. And by doing any sort of medium or long-term offtake agreement, the UK may lose control of that black mass. So that's the juggling that we're doing internally right now. And, there's a lot of good work going on. And, we've created a particularly strong commercial tension situation from off-takers around the world to be able to get in that position.
Robin, if we go down the line as a Recyclus Group to separate the black mass, what are the financial upsides of doing this? What sort of factor of value is created by the separation?
Yeah, so separating the black mass, in the early indications are that we need to get materials back to a purity of between upwards of 99.5% of original purity. Some of the separation processes are achieving 99.8%. Now, gigafactories won't tell you what their particular chemistries and mix are, but they are saying that if you get to 99.5 or more, we will buy your materials direct. So that's what we're classing as PCAM material that can go straight round into a new battery. For us, to answer your question, a guide would be a 4 times multiplier of the value that we currently get.
So here you are, Robin. You're listed on, it was the 17th of November 2021, so you're coming up to your sort of second anniversary. Just sum up how you, and I know you, having met you a few times, how much blood, sweat and tears you put into this, your job and working for this company, but just sum up how you're feeling now. I mean, you just Kevin said you're pleased with progress, despite a few delays which are out of your control, but just sum up to listeners how excited you are for the future of Recyclus and TM1.
Yeah, well, the excitement, I think, is clear on all of our podcasts that we've done with you. I mean, it's been a heck of a journey, let me tell you. Any new tech startup companies, are not for the faint-hearted. And, we have had a lot of challenges through that period, and we've discussed those before. Having said that, I really do feel that we're sitting on top of the cam, and literally as we tip into 2024 now, we're in a position where we're going to be coming beautifully off the cam and having a business that's running well. I think for me and the team, the frustration that we have is that, we keep coming out with what we think is good news, and the share price needle moves a little bit. It doesn't move a lot. And the more validation we get from people like WMG that our product is fit for purpose, the more contracts we get, the more feedstock we get. And by relaunching, we've been advised over a number of months now that, the investment sector doesn't like complexity, and they see that the circular economy, where you've got a company like ours that's got more than one touch point in that circle, actually adds too much complexity. And so by doing the rebranding that we're doing into RG PLC, we are pushing hard that we are now a recycling company. We're pushing hard that we will retain, cost-neutral, ethical exploration. And the reason that the frustration is there is that the automotive space get it. The NASDAQ gets it, yeah? And the automotive companies we're talking to are saying, look, actually, we've got options of, the American recycling companies, let's say. But when we talk to you, Recyclus Group, you've actually got the possibility here to help us find raw materials as well. Because they've got it that, we can only produce up to 30% of the raw materials needed through recycling. The other 70 has got to come from extraction. The one good thing that it is doing is lighting engineers around the world, is lighting their fires. Because, traditionally with fossil fuel engineers, you're mining, if you like, for a chemical that has got a single use. Once it's burnt, it's gone, and it's a pollutant. With the transition to EV, we've got this wonderful space where the minerals are actually genuinely going to go cradle to cradle now and can continue to be reused. And so we've got automotive saying, we get it. We need to have some extraction. China has got over 80% of all of the raw materials. They're actually annoying continents now because they're deliberately suppressing the market prices for those commodities to dissuade other countries from engaging in the mining activities. Yeah. So China are playing a big role in this. And so here we sit with exploration opportunities of all of the right battery materials, because that's what we're focused on. And the automotive space get it. They like the fact we might be able to have a two-pronged attack with them on both recycling and raw supply.
Okay. I'll say on that note, Robin Brundle, Chairman of Technology Minerals, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Phil.
This podcast was brought to you by Roast PR Limited. If you would like to appear on a future episode of The Sunday Roast, please email admin@thesundayroast.net.